Good afternoon and welcome to the Carlisle Community Forum. I'm Vanessa Maroney and today I'm hosting this wonderful show which is produced by the Carlisle Council on Aging, and today is Friday, January 19th. And I would like to start off by introducing the panel at the table today. We have to my left is Jean Banyaski from the Friends of the Carlisle Council on Aging. We have Angela Smith, the Carlisle Council on Aging Outreach and Program Manager. And our guest today is Camille Haas, who is the AFC Care Manager, and AFC is the Greater Waltham ARC. So welcome to everybody today and to all of you watching at home. And at this point, I'd like to pass it over to Angela, who has some announcements to make.
Good day, and thanks for all coming. First thing I want to do is give a little bit of a notice from the library, because we're very lucky. We have a wonderful library, and we have wonderful library staff. And one of the wonderful things they do for us is to have coupons or passes to different museums. So they want people to know that the Georgia O'Keeffe exhibit is currently at the Peabody Essex Museum, and that it might be good for people to watch that before our art series that Jane Blair is going to do for the Council on Aging and the library in March. And they said they have passes for 24 museums, and you can check them out online, or you can go in and talk to the staff, and they have a list. And they wanted to thank both the Friends of the Council on Friends of the Gleason Library and other organizations, and their website is gleasonlibrary.org.
Great.
So, from the COA perspective, although it's winter and we don't do quite as many trips as we normally do in good weather, we still have a vast number of events for our seniors, and I just want to remind people that they can get transportation.
Okay.
So if you're sitting at home and you have a doctor's appointment or you want to go run an errand, you can call the COA, our transportation line, whose number is 978-371-6690, and Debbie Farrell will get you a ride. And we go within a 15-mile radius. So if you need to go to Leahy or Emerson, that's fine.
Great.
And we do have a grocery shopping trip every Friday morning that goes to Market Basket in Westford. And we've also done some things like if somebody's spouse is at a rehab facility and they want to go, and maybe they don't want to drive in the winter. Mm-hmm. So unless there's no school, we're generally on the road.
Can I ask a question about how much notice do you need for transportation?
At least 2 business days, but
Okay.
if people know before that, the sooner the better.
Okay.
Because Debbie's trying to juggle people going in multiple directions. And we try to substitute if we can't do the van because it's already at Leahy and somebody else has an appointment at Emerson, then we'll try to get a friendly driver.
Great.
And so if you're out there and you're home and you're available to be a friendly driver, give us a call at the COA at 978-371-2895.
Super.
Okay? So why don't we get started and talk to Camille.
Okay, sounds great. So again, our guest today is from the Greater Waltham ARC, and we will find out all about this wonderful organization. And I'd like to start by organizing myself and asking Camille to explain what it is, what the Greater Waltham ARC is. Thanks.
Absolutely, thank you. So the Greater Waltham ARC, as we say typically GWARC, it's a nonprofit organization. We were founded in 1956. Our mission is to serve children, adolescents, and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the community and their families. We also serve frail elders. Excuse me. We offer many different services, such as our day habilitation program, employment and community-based programs, school to work transition program, and of course the adult family care program, which I will be discussing more today.
Okay, great. And what is, I'm not really familiar with what adult family care is. Can you go into a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we find that not a lot of individuals in the communities know what AFC is, adult family care, as we abbreviate it, AFC. So AFC is a free Mass Health funded program and designed for individuals who are 16 years of age or older, living with a medical or mental diagnosis, and they are unable to live safely alone at home. This program is a great cost-saving program for Mass Health due to the high cost of nursing care facilities and group residential homes in comparison to the amount that we pay our caregivers, which is approximately $9,000 or $18,000 a year.
Okay, great. And who is, you talked a little bit about who is eligible, but can you expand upon that at all in terms of like this local area in terms of Carlisle? You know, do you currently offer your services to people in Carlisle? And
Absolutely. So we do serve most of Middlesex and Norfolk County. So to be eligible for this program, the individual has to be at least 16 years of age or older, and again, living with either a medical or mental diagnosis, and they are unable to live alone. To be on this program, they also must be eligible to receive either Mass Health Standard or Mass Health Common Health.
okay,
Part of the requirements of the program is the individual served needs to have daily supervision or assistance with an activity of daily living. For instance, that could be helping somebody bathe, helping them get dressed, helping them toilet, to eat, or to walk. Those are all examples. So,
great. And what does it take to be a caregiver with AFC?
yeah, so to be a caregiver, the individual has to be at least 18 years of age. Caregivers may be family members or relatives. However, at this time, caregivers may not be a spouse or legal guardian. And caregivers must be able to provide the necessary time and care necessary to support the individual who is in need and to be able to keep them safe in the home.
Okay, but it's not possible for a spouse, right?
Not at this time, unfortunately.
But another family member? you said?
Absolutely,
That's
yes.
interesting, okay. What services are provided to the families in the AFC program?
I'm glad you asked. So, of course, we do provide a tax-free stipend in the amount of approximately $9,000 or $18,000 a year. We also provide monthly home visits. It's conducted by either a registered nurse or a care manager, such as myself. We come into the home, we provide ongoing support, advocacy, and training that is relevant to both the caregiver and the member, just keeping everybody safe and, make sure that they know the latest trainings. We also, and on top of that, we just continue to provide support and advocacy. We try to be an open resource to the families that we serve.
Great. And how can our viewers out there learn more about your services and more information about the Greater Waltham ARC?
Yeah, so if anybody has any questions or if they are interested in seeing if they are eligible, please feel free to give me a call. Again, we do serve most of Norfolk and Middlesex County, so a lot of people hear Greater Waltham and think we're exclusive to Waltham, but we're not. Eligibility can be found over the phone, so if a few simple questions, we will get an idea of if you have an individual in mind, if they would be eligible and appropriate for these services.
Okay, and I believe that with our editing, our skilled editing team will be having a couple of graphics appear on that. It gives some contact information for Camille Haas, our guest. But that number, just in case there are any difficulties, are 781-899-1344, extension 4105.
Yes.
And she may also be reached at CHAAS@GWARC.org. And the website for the Greater Waltham ARC is www.gwarc.org. And just wondering if you have, in terms of bringing it back to a Carlisle focus, are you currently working with families here in Carlisle? Do you know, or?
At the moment, I do not believe we have any families in Carlisle, but we do serve families in the surrounding area.
Excellent. Excellent.
So we would love to reach out. And again, it's a program that not a lot of individuals know that's out there. So oftentimes we find families that are taking care of a loved one simply because that's what we do and that's in their nature. So to be able to come in, provide these individuals with a little bit of a stipend, it's very, very beneficial to the families that we serve.
I certainly had no idea that these services were available to, to that wide scope of, of any citizen in town or in this greater Boston area. And I certainly know of several, personal friends who are now getting into the sort of caregiving mode of, that part of life. And,
Sure.
and this could be a really helpful resource. So
Absolutely. I hope it can be, because as any caregiver knows, it's a very demanding job, but it can be very rewarding as well. And so that financial aspect, it can help a lot.
great.
So people that are children who may be taking care of their parents, if their parents qualify for mass help, they could possibly do this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And Jean, did you have a question?
I did, but I wondered if it might have just been answered with the math help recipients and then the services of ARC. Are there any restrictions on any other kinds of help that might be brought into the situation?
So that is a great question. Thank you for asking. So duplicate services would be PCA, a personal care attendant. If somebody is receiving PCA services, then they would not be eligible for AFC, adult family care. They also must not require skilled nursing care or VNA home health care.
Thank you so much for being here today and bringing this great organization to light. And I certainly hope that you receive some inquiries from people in town.
Yes.
And so at this point, I'll pass it back over to Angela and for any other announcements.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before you leave, I'm just curious, is there anything else that you would like to make sure people know that we
Yes.
haven't covered?
Again, that, it's a great service if you're providing any sort of care to somebody who is eligible for mass health. Definitely take the time to look into it. It's a quick conversation. We can decide if you're eligible over the phone. And it's a tax-free stipend is from anywhere $9,000 to $18,000 annually.
If somebody isn't already on mass health, do you have anyone there that helps them if it looks like financially they would qualify?
We can definitely help try to navigate through the system and to see if they are eligible and get them in the right direction.
Okay,
That's
great.
Very valuable.
So, Vanessa,
Yes.
we like to have our seniors get out and have a good meal.
Yes, excellent.
And so we have a number of things coming up in February and early March. We do a monthly coffee at Village Court, and it is hosted by various people. And in February, it's actually our police department
Oh,
that
wow.
are going to be hosting for us. And last year,
sounds
they
like
put
fun.
on an amazing feast. So if you happen to be around on Wednesday, February 7th at 9 in the morning, stop by and see the chief and some of our police men and women, and have a nice breakfast as well. And the following week on Thursday is the men's breakfast.
Okay.
And at each of these, we also have a blood pressure clinic.
Oh, okay.
So if you are being told by your doctor that you should have your blood pressure checked occasionally, this is a good place. So even if you aren't a man, you can come to the men's breakfast, not necessarily to eat, but to get your blood pressure checked. And then on February 14th, we go to Neshobatak. So we go to Neshobatak once a month and once a quarter for breakfast. And the menu is usually just amazing.
I have always heard amazing things about it, but tell us
And
what, do you have any
So
details?
in February 14th, you can have grilled salmon with hollandaise sauce or pork calvados. I'm probably mispronouncing it. And you get dessert, you get vegetables, you get coffee. It's a wonderful meal. It's an opportunity to get together with, neighbors and meet new seniors in town. Normally, last year, we were getting, I would say, about 15 people who went a month. But now the Friends are subsidizing it. So instead of paying $10 for this lovely meal, you only have to pay $5.
That's phenomenal.
And so last
Wow.
month, we had actually 31 people
Oh,
that went
Smart people.
and enjoyed it. And then on the 31st at 9 a.m., we go back to Neshoba Tech for breakfast.
Okay.
And again, the Friends are subsidizing it, so it's only $3. And you can get scrambled eggs, eggs Benedict, or an omelet. You get bacon, sausage, sauteed potatoes, French toast, pastry, juice, coffee. And the food's phenomenal. The kids are great, and we really have a great relationship with the various chef managers there.
Wonderful.
So that's lots of fun. So if you're thinking of what can I do on a cold day, and you'd like to get a nice meal, and
Is there transportation or?
somebody can call Debbie Farrow on our
Okay.
transportation line and see if we can arrange it.
Okay.
Most people get there on their own.
Okay.
But we have done some carpooling,
Okay.
to get people there. So we tend not
With
to
30
have them.
people coming, I mean, that sounds, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds wonderful.
So not necessarily to take the van,
Yeah.
although if there were enough people asking for it, we could do that.
Okay.
Okay? And then we also have a monthly luncheon that is supported by Minuteman Senior Services because we don't have a senior center. And because we can't do the kind of meals that senior centers can do, they pay a small stipend to Chelmsford Crossing,
Okay.
who generously accept just the stipend for the cost of the meal. And each of the churches in town hosts it for us 3 times a year.
Okay.
And so on February 1st, we are going to St. Irene's, and Chelmsford Crossing is providing a lovely lunch of stuffed chicken breast. And after that, we usually have a program, and we have a new volunteer who's a doctor of physical therapy, and he's going to talk about caregivers and things that they should know so to help be safe in the home and to help prevent falls.
Right.
So that
So
should be
important.
something that we all should listen to and learn and pay attention to. And then once a month, we have our COA board members who put on our COA lunch. And annually, we do a program with the National Charity League. I don't know if you know who they are.
No, I don't.
The National Charity League is a group of women and daughters who volunteer. And we're lucky to be one of the organizations they volunteer for. So they will come, and Verna Gilbert, who's on our board, and some of the other board members and volunteers will get the meal, plate it, serve it, set up, clean up. And the National Charity League will serve a tea and homemade desserts.
Oh, that's
So the kids and the mothers bake some of the desserts. We also turn to the seniors in our own board and our friends and ask them to bake as well. So there's this gorgeous array of homemade, lovely desserts. We're going to have a great guy, Brian Kane, who's a professional musician who lives in town, and he's going to be playing the musics of Cole Porter, George Gershwin, Rodgers and Hart, and other people.
Oh, nice.
And so it's a lovely event. There's all different kinds of tea, and we also usually get, the Brownie Troupe is doing it this year. We'll bring something special, a little token for each senior. And the PTO are making Valentines for all the seniors as well.
Oh, nice.
So that's a wonderful take. So before I go on to some more meals and other activities, I think we may want to hear from Jean how much we get supported from our friends and some things that they are very heavily involved with.
Well, obviously, food is
A
right
theme.
at the top of the list, and most important, we want to keep everyone happy and well-fed. But I'd just like to make a plea for those of you who might not have contributed yet to the Friends of the Carlisle Council on Aging's 2017-18 fundraiser. We welcome all kinds of contributions throughout the year, but our push is on now to finish things up. And contributions may be mailed to P.O. Box 38, Carlisle, Massachusetts. The abbreviation for Friends is the FOCCOA. So we work with the Council on Aging for many of the programs that Angela mentioned, but we also in trying to support the physical well-being of our seniors. We support exercise programs, podiatry clinics, cardiovascular checks, as Angela mentioned, in the blood pressure at our lunches and breakfast. And also that we sponsor the many programs with the Gleason Library. And upcoming, in March, we have Jane Blair coming back again. She's a wonderful presenter, always right on the mark, most entertaining, tons of fun. But her talk focuses this series starting on Wednesday, March 7th at 1:30 at St. Irene's. And it's focusing on women artists before the 20th century. And the second date for Jane Blair's series is Wednesday, March 14th, again at 1:30 in St. Irene's, and this continues with women artists. And finally, wrapping up her series on the 21st of March at 1:30 is portraits. And I'm looking at some information here. I see Salvador Dali and George Washington, so there'll be probably a historical perspective as well as the fun with the art. I really recommend it. It always has a good turnout, and people always want to see Jane.
Yeah.
Last year, I think we got 100 people. We hold this at St. Irene's because of the number of people that we get. The
That's
library
amazing. That's a
can't deal with it.
Right, and that's it's also another good point to plug again, the passes, the museum passes and the Georgia O'Keeffe exhibit that people would be able to access from the library, and they're very easy to secure online. So we do
As
that.
a matter of fact, last weekend, we did get a pass for Peabody Essex to bring a visitor from Cambodia to see something about American art and history in this beautiful museum. We had a wonderful time. So I urge everyone to use the library passes for many things, but
Yes.
I think on the Art Matters series, it ties in very nicely.
Yeah.
Also, as far as health programs, the Friends sponsor with the Gleason Public Library some talks coming up in April. And the first one is, I think, kind of interesting to me since I seem to be more and more forgetful, but 7 steps to managing your memory, what's normal, what's not, and what to do about it. The presenter is Dr. Andrew Budson, and he's amazingly qualified. He's a doctor, associate director, and education core director at BU's Alzheimer's Disease Center. He's a professor of neurology at BU, lecturer in neurology at Harvard Medical, and chief of cognitive behavioral neurology at the VA Affairs headquarters. So I think that probably is something that, even if it's not something we ourselves are concerned about, perhaps somebody in our immediate family or friends. So that is, again, Tuesday, April 10th at 1:30 at the Hollis Room in the library. And on Wednesday, April 18th, Carlisle resident Dr. Ann Burnham is going to address the issue of your eyes and how to care for them as you age. And again, these are free. They are open to anybody who can register ahead of time because seating is limited. These series are very well attended, so I do urge people to register. Right now for the Art Matters, you can register. That started early this week. I'm not sure that the health
The
series,
health series is going to be a ways off.
Yes,
They
so
haven't
there
set
is-
the date.
there's no registration yet, but please stay tuned because it will be well announced. And so, unless anyone has questions, I urge you to consider making a donation if you haven't already, and also to sign up for some of the wonderful activities that the Friends support for our seniors. We have exercise classes, and beside, you'll need the exercise classes
After
you
you
all the
all
dessert.
this-
after
all
all
the
the eating.
I know.
So there's Zumba and there's all kinds of possible exercise classes that can help with the blood pressure and the waistline.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to make a donation and they don't want to mail it in, we have a box at the COA office.
Okay.
And you can just drop it in there.
Alternatively, is there a PayPal option online at all?
Yes, there is.
There is?
For,
Okay.
For Friends, yes, there is.
Great.
So, and I believe that if you go to the website for the Friends, it's www.carlisle.org/FOCCOA/home, capitalized home, page.html.
Okay.
So that should be available. We do have
Okay.
a website that would help, I think, direct everybody to.
And if it's too much to remember all that,
Yes.
it's on our newsletter, which is on the
I see it
town's
right
website.
on the masthead up
Right.
here.
Go to doctor's talk coming up
Right.
about memory, so.
Okay, great. That's super. Thank you so much, Jean.
One of the biggest things that the Friends does that I want to make sure people are aware of when they're thinking about should I give is they support helping some of our seniors with fuel assistance.
Okay.
And they also help with some food gift cards several times a year. And I think people think that people in Carlisle don't need support, but that unfortunately is not true
Right.
because there are more people living in rentals than people realize. And there are also a lot of seniors that moved into town 50 years ago who retired probably 20 years ago, and now their pensions aren't covering as much of the
Right.
costs as they thought.
Right, and with the taxes
And
continuing
the
to, and the
taxes are,
fixed income,
you know,
it's not a-
difficult, and
yeah.
food's difficult, and, you know, everything that they have to have in order to survive. So a lot of people are really straining, trying to stay, and this is their home, and this is their community, and they don't want to leave no matter what.
It's good. I'm very aware of personally, I'm aware of a lot of what the Friends for the Council on Aging does, but I was not aware that, in terms of the programs, but I did not know about the fuel assistance tied to the Friends and also the meal, cards or gift cards for
Couple of times a year, to just
food
help
and
a little
things
bit.
like that. So that's
And
important.
and the notes we receive are heartfelt. People really appreciate the thought and the generosity. And this has been a particularly cold, hard
Yes.
start to the new year. So the grants that are submitted are very much put to use and very much appreciated. So it isn't all about eating and exercise. There's a lot of need that we try to address.
And we also get support from St. Irene's, who the last quite a few years does a caring tree at Christmas, and we usually get 50 gift cards for food, which we send out to our seniors, which gets supplemented by the Friends, and that's another time that we're able to just give a little something more because of St. Irene's parishioners' generosity.
That's super.
So we're very lucky with the support that we get from all of our churches in town. So while we're talking about all the support we get, so the next time we're going to have another lunch is in another Chelmsford Crossing lunch, which will be at FRS this time. And, oh no, I take it back. The one on February 1st is at FRS. The one on March 1st is at St. Irene's. I apologize. I'm confusing people. And our speaker for that event is going to be Tim Holt, your old friend.
Yes.
And Tim is going to talk about discovering Carlisle, its past, where we are now, and how we move forward. And so if you love hearing Tim talk, and I think most of us do, it should be a lovely lunch followed by a very interesting talk. But we don't just feed people. We also have some programs beside the art and the health. We have a social hour, which is once a month at Benfield Farm, which is really intended just for people who don't necessarily have someone. They may live alone, and maybe they want to meet some people. And so you can come and for like an hour and a half, just talk. Just meet people and find other people in Carlisle that are also looking for some socialization.
Right. I have several friends personally who have more and more parents that have moved in with them. So, and who have expressed a real need and want to, to meet other people. So that's a great thing to know about, to pass that along.
So it's very informal. Usually Alice Hardy hosts it, and Alice is in Florida for 3 months, so 2 of the women that live in Benfield are actually hosting it now, January through March. And somebody else that's a Benfield resident came up with this card game that I guess you ask a question and people talk about their feelings and different things. And so I think we may try that in February, so we'll see how that goes. We do have an inside walking. So we can go to the school before it starts. You just have to let Chief Flannery know so they unlock the door by the exercise room. We had a computer class on Tuesday. We have another one coming on February 13, which is on maintaining your computer. And we are very lucky because Bob Supnick, who lives in town, who's a pretty famous former vice president of one of the local companies, has not only teaches classes for us, but repairs people's computers.
Oh, great.
So if somebody is feeling they can't afford to have a computer technician come in, or they don't have the skill themselves, we have Bob and several other people that will go to their house and help get them back online, or help train them, or help them with their technology issues. We also have somebody who's helping with cell phones. So if
Where
somebody
do we
wants,
sign up for this now?
you just have to call us at the COA office.
That's great.
And we'll put you in touch with the volunteer. And we collect all cell phones, and the money that Minuteman, the cell phones go to Minuteman Senior Services, which is our social service agency, and they use it towards protective services. So, but our volunteer, if you brought in a cell phone and you didn't know how to clear it of your data and you wanted it cleared, you could leave it with us and we'll get the phone to him and he'll clear it before it gets donated. So we're very lucky with that. And then on March 6th at the Public Library, we actually have District Attorney Marion Ryan coming herself to talk about senior safety. So we hope we get a good turnout for that, and we are asking people to register for that.
Okay.
Then, we also have been working with Mara Briere, who's a certified family life educator. The company she has is Grow a Strong Family, and she's doing some mental illness support groups.
Okay.
And so she did one in January, and she's going to do one in February. So all that information is, we have flyers in Town Hall, and we do a weekly email of what's coming. So if you'd like to know what's coming, all you have to do is send myself or any of the staff members an email, and our email's on our newsletter or on the town website, and we'll put you on distribution. So sometimes we get programs that don't make the newsletter, because most of our newsletters are 2 months now.
Okay.
So the January, February newsletter had to be finished by the beginning
Right,
of
so you need to
December.
supplement, yeah.
So sometimes we put other programs in, so if somebody wants to know what's going on, just send us an email and say, I'd like to be added to your emails distribution, and we'll put you on. So we hope that's helpful. And then, as Jean kept talking about, exercise. So Jean, we have, let's see, Monday's tap, Tuesday's Zumba and Tai Chi, Wednesday is line dancing and yoga, Thursday is fitness and cardio, and Friday something we call Sama. And that's based on flexibility and balance. And we actually found the original teacher for Sama from the Boston Globe.
Oh,
He was written up because people were going to his classes and with their walkers, and after a time not needing them anymore because they were able to improve their balance that much.
that's amazing.
So he was also written up in Chronicle, and he actually retired, and his daughter has taken over.
Okay.
And as much as I loved him and thought he did a great job, I think she's even better. And so I've taken the class for years, and I think it's phenomenal. It's really so good to be, get that flexibility and core balance.
Yeah.
So you can try all of our classes for free
Okay.
once. So come, look at the newsletter, see what time it is, see where it is, try it out. If you like it, great. If you don't, nothing. If you liked it and you want to
Can't
join,
hurt to try.
just give us a call or come in the office and sign up.
Okay.
So, and then we also have a wonderful volunteer who teaches dancing. So say you have a wedding coming up and you don't want to look like you have 4 left feet like I do, then he will actually go to your home, he and his partner, and they will teach you how to dance. And so he used to teach a class here, and then he felt like maybe people would like it better if it was in their own home. So he's available. He's not available in January and February, but you can call and we can get him in touch with you and start up again in March. And then if you are 65 or older, did you know you can get a Charlie card and pay half the price at the MBTA?
No, I did not know that. Wow.
And normally you have to go into Downtown Crossing to get that Charlie card. But we learned that there is one sort of way around that. And if the
tell.
COA gets enough people, I
Uh-huh.
need like 20 people,
Right.
then I can hold an event here and take the pictures with a volunteer, fill out the forms, send them all in, and your Charlie card gets mailed to your home.
That is a phenomenally valuable thing to know right there. I mean, anything to avoid going into downtown Crossing.
And so it's people 65 and older. It gives them a senior Charlie card, will allow them to ride on local buses for 85 cents, subways for $1.10, or express buses for $2.50. And they can even use it for 50% off on commuter rail and the ferry. So we are looking for people who are interested in doing it, that don't have a Charlie card now, or got their Charlie card prior to 2005 and need
Okay.
a new one. And as soon as we have enough people, we'll schedule an event, and people can come in. It takes about 5 minutes. Fill out the form, get your picture taken. I submit it, and then you get your Charlie card in about 6 to 8 weeks, mailed to your home.
That sounds fantastic. I hope that you get enough people. I mean,
Well, we've done it 3 times so far.
oh, good.
So
good.
we're just looking for people that are turning 65, and you don't have to live in Carlisle. You can
Okay.
live anywhere.
Okay.
So, if
To
you
do it through this office and you.
right,
get
you just have to do it through us. And you have to be 65.
Okay.
And we have a community book club, that meets at the library, and the next time is Monday, February 12th. And the book is The Dark Flood Rises. And Mary Zoll hosts that. And we also have 2 knitting groups. So I'm a member of one, and it was started by FRS, and we knit for Common Cathedral in Boston.
Okay.
And all of the scarves and hats that we knit go at Christmas time as Christmas gifts to all the homeless people. And so last year, I think we did almost 200 scarves and hats. So there's,
Do you have to be an accomplished knitter?
no, because I do it and I know one stitch.
Okay.
But
I know one stitch, but I don't know how to go around. So is it something that I could
well, there's a
know
round,
my one stitch and
yeah,
know
there's
how
a
to?
round
Okay.
needle.
Okay.
So the
So
people
somebody
that
could help
do
me.
this will teach you.
Okay.
We just met last night.
Okay.
And we meet in different locations, and there are a number of very skilled, very accomplished knitters. We have knitting needles, we have donated yarn, so it's just come. It's a lovely night. We meet from 7:30 to 9:30, and we chat, we knit, and if you can't come, you can knit at home. And we have people at Newbury Court that knit for us. There's people at the Littleton COA that knit for us. There's people that knit at home that we never see, but they bring in the
Does it have to be knitting, or can you crochet as
you
well?
can crochet, you
Okay.
can knit, long as
Is
it's
there-
homemade.
Okay.
What we don't give in, because they're given as gifts, is we
Okay.
don't give anything that's
That's-
used or
yes.
commercial.
Right.
It has to
But
be
you can knit, or
homemade.
it's called knitting, but you can crochet too.
And preferably more dark colors
Okay.
if possible, because it's more men than women.
Yep.
But we'll take whatever we can get.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be wool. It can be whatever yarn you have or whatever yarn we have.
Okay.
And if you want to do it at home, we can get some of the yarn, which one of the members is keeping at their house, delivered to the COA office, and you
Okay.
can pick it up here.
Great.
So
This is a
next
New Year's
month,
thing for me, maybe.
it's always the 3rd Thursday of the month.
Okay.
And the other club is called the Gleason Knitters,
Okay.
and they knit at the library. And the next time they're knitting is actually today as we speak. They meet from 10:15 to, I think, about 12:15
On Fridays?
on Fridays, twice a month.
Okay.
So in February, it's February 2nd and 16th,
Okay.
and they tend to knit for themselves.
Okay.
So they are much more
social, yeah.
accomplished knitters who are making things and go there to learn
Yeah.
and to talk and to share patterns and
Okay.
learn more.
Yes.
So, and then we're trying to find some more people to see if they would like to play trivia. One of our volunteers has offered to hold a trivia game, and we need enough people to make it worthwhile to hold. So we're looking for interest by March 19th in order to try to schedule a game Monday, the 26th. So he's willing to do it once a month on the 4th Monday of the month at 10 to 11:30 at the library. But so far, we haven't got a whole lot of interest. So we're hoping we get some more. And then we have podiatry, as Jean referred to. And our next podiatry clinic is on January 2nd, so it's going to be in March. I think it's the 6th and the 8th. It's usually the first Monday and Tuesday of the month. And we will be taking appointments for it now. So if you want to go and get your nails cut, if they're getting too difficult for you to do yourself, we can help you with that.
Super.
And then we have haircuts.
Uh-huh.
So there was this hair studio or salon in Acton, and they went out of business maybe 3 years ago. And so some of the seniors called me up and said, well, I lost my hairdresser or barber, and I really like them, And can you find them for me? Where did they go? Well, they started to work on their own. And so we talk to them, and they come in, and right at this very table, every 6 weeks, they do haircuts.
That's great.
And they do it at a reduced cost, because we negotiated that. So for $10.50, plus a tip, hopefully,
Yeah.
you can come in 15 minutes, get your hair spritz, cut, get out the door, and never leave Carlisle.
Wonderful.
So I hope people take advantage of that. And it's tax time, unfortunately.
Yes, yeah.
And AARP does have people that are willing to help, people that have not very complicated forms. If you have questions, you can call and talk to the AARP people. Or you can call the Bedford COA or the Chelmsford COA. Both of them have representatives there.
Oh, and you don't need to be a resident of Bedford
Either
or
Bedford
Chelmsford.
or Chelmsford, because it's supported by AARP.
Okay,
So they will allow local residents to share in their skill and talent. I do suggest you call very early and make an appointment, because it may take very, very long time to get an appointment. So even if you don't have all your taxes ready,
Yeah.
but you know you can have them ready by a certain date, I would say call and schedule an appointment.
smart.
So Jean,
I just had a question. Is there a possibility of the women's breakfast coming back?
it is. We're going to do one
More
in
food.
March. We do the women's breakfast several times a year when we get some volunteers who are willing to put it on. The men's breakfast, we were lucky for very many years to have the Elgins and the Dunkers host it. And then they turned it over to Bert Williams, who then turned it over to Andy Cutter. And then when Andy unfortunately moved out of town, we conned my husband into doing it. And I didn't even know he could cook. He kept it secret, and he does a fabulous job. I mean, I think last month's menu was he had blueberry pancakes, a potato casserole, scrambled eggs, pastry, fruit salad, beans, ham, coffee, yogurt, bananas,
That's amazing.
and it's $3.
Wow.
So, and usually we get some of the policemen that come, and the guys love that. And they come in and chat with the chief or one of the officers. And we got to meet our new dispatcher
Okay.
last time. So if you're home, you don't have to be a senior, and you work out of your house, or you are a senior. We want people to know we're there. And I think the seniors love meeting other people. So,
I believe the Sally Hain and Ann James were planning to put in a word for help for March 27th for a women's breakfast and donations if you can't physically come. But I believe it will be in Sleeper at 9.
9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you for bringing me back
Yeah.
to that. The women's breakfast is done a little bit differently. It is all, everybody pitches in. And so, which works out very nicely because there's a lot of women that are very talented cooks and bakers. And so everybody brings something, and there's usually an abundance of food. And we tend to get about 35 people, where the guys only get 15 to 20.
Well, I can't believe all the things that the Council on Aging does, and I'm pretty close to it. But I think the newsletter is invaluable, and there is a calendar if you need it to remind you that could be put on your refrigerator
Right.
or on a desk surface so that you don't have to go back and try and find where that event is or when you have to be there, what day it works, and so on. But it is impressive in this small town that we have as much going on. And as much participation.
Right, we're
20
very lucky. It's amazing how, I mean, our lunches, we get anywhere from 50 to 80 people when we have them at one of the churches. And the exercise classes, we're always looking for more, but because there's a minimum number.
Right.
And there are people that are so into it, like the women that do tap. I mean, they are committed to this, and God help us if we don't get enough for tap.
Yeah.
So all of us feel very strongly about wanting to keep the programs going because it really keeps people healthy.
Right.
And the classes are generally pretty reasonable. And I know Sama is coming up, I think it's the beginning of March, for the next session. So we're hoping people sign up. We do need a couple of more people for that. So if you're out there now and you'd like to increase your flexibility and balance, come join me. And it's a nice group of people that do it, and there's always good conversation as well as exercise. And I'd also like to plug Life Care Center of Acton because they will be providing refreshments for both the art series and for our health series.
Okay.
So not only do you get to learn something and have fun, you get to have a snack as well.
Win-win.
The one of the other services that we have that is with the police is that we have something called the Are You OK system. So if you live alone, and you can be any age and participate in this, and because there's always the risk that somebody could fall
Yes.
and not be found. And I hear people say, but I have my cell phone with me. Well, you may not have your cell phone with you when you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and slip. Or you may hit your head and you may not be conscious to turn, to get that cell phone. And so if you're not in a situation where somebody's going to miss you in 24 hours, then you should sign up for this.
Yes.
Because all it involves is you decide, well, maybe you work 3 days a week. So 3 days a week, somebody's going to look for you, but the rest of the time they're not. So you say, okay, I want to be called at this time on these days. And it's an automatic call from the police station. If you answer, they just move on. If you don't answer, they try a number of times. If you still don't answer, a policeman will try calling. If you still don't answer, somebody's going to come check you out and make sure you're okay.
It's incredibly important, especially.
And so we have had people found on the floor. And last year, unfortunately, we had somebody who didn't sign up for this and spent 4 days on the floor before somebody found them. It's free. So if you are out there and you're hearing this and you live alone and somebody's not going to miss you for 24 hours, please consider signing up for this. And I talked to one young woman, younger, senior, who's using it now, and she said, I didn't think I'd tolerate being called. It's a pain, and you got to remember to tell them if you're not going to be there when the call comes in. But she said, now that I've gotten used to it, the safety is so important to me,
And it
because I
probably
do live alone.
Right. Puts you at ease knowing
Right.
that there's, right.
So I hope that people call us. I hope that people consider volunteering and supporting the Council on Aging. And I think we should sign off.
This is amazing. So yes, for the City in the Woods, a lot of people get to come out of the woods for all these wonderful programs. So thank you so much. So again, I'd like to thank Jean Benyaski from the Friends of the Carlisle Council on Aging, and Angela Smith from the Council on Aging, and Camille Haas, who's here from the Greater Waltham ARC, and from the AFC, the Adult Family Care program there. So thank you so much for making your way to Carlisle to provide us with this great insight to your amazing organization.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.
So, and with that, I will sign off from the Carlisle Community Forum, and we thank you very much and hope you will tune in next time.